because of what we did on this day, in this election, at this defining moment, change has come to America.
Make America great again. Trump, Trump, Trump. Make America great again. Trump, Trump, Trump. Make America great again. Trump, Trump, Trump.
Americans have fought their way back from tough economic times, but the deck is still stacked in favor of those at the top. Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion. I'm running for president.
The battle lines have been drawn. The bugles have rang. It's the day of reckoning of one of the bitterest US presidential elections in history. On one side, there is Donald Trump, who wants to cash on to the people's xenophobia to sit on the White House chair. On the other hand, there is Hillary Clinton, who aspires to become the country's first women president. The 58th presidential election to choose the country's 45th president saw viciously bitter exchanges between the rivals. While race is always a big issue during the elections, this time issues of terrorism, unemployment, illegal immigrants have divided the nation. A total of 538 electoral college votes will be up for grabs across 50 states, of which one has to get a majority of 270 votes. While both the Democrats and the Republicans have a certain number of states that traditionally votes for them, it is the neutral states like Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia and Ohio that has the power to swing the elections. If one looks at the Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton, her biggest advantage is that a large number of women are backing her to break the chain to male hegemony over the US presidency. She is considered popular among ethnic minorities, the immigrants and people of color. Her experience as a Secretary of State adds to her credentials. She also has managed to bring Democrat rival Bernie Sanders to her side along with his supporters. Not only that, she also has the support of Hollywood and pop stars, which includes the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, Beyonce, and many others. But her campaign is clouded by big controversies. The controversy of her alleged use of private mail to send, receive, and store government information when she was the Secretary of State has haunted her throughout the elections.
Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information, there is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
It was aggravated by the recent opening of the case by FBI and accusations of financial mismanagement against the Clinton Foundation. Trump has used this to his full advantage.
I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted. As soon as she releases them, I will release my tax returns.
She is also accused of being hawkish and blamed for the mess in Iraq. On the other hand, if one looks at Trump, he is a person who has used people's fears for political opportunism. From banning Muslims to driving out illegal immigrants, Trump has used jingoism and xenophobia to give mileage to his campaign. He also played out to the gallery by building a wall along the Mexican border.
I would build a great wall, build a great wall. I would build a great wall, build a great wall. I would build a great wall, build a great wall. I would build a great wall, build a great wall.
He struck a chord with the unemployed youth as he promised to abrogate free trade treaties, which he cites the main reason behind the loss of jobs. Moreover, he used Bill Clinton's sex scandal to his advantage. He also wooed the Indian community, taking a leaf out of Narendra Modi's prime ministerial campaign.
Abhi bar, Trump, Sarkar.
But the things that are working on his favor are also alienating a certain section of the people.
That's a problem for a lot of Americans. They just don't love the two choices. I mean, do you pick someone who's under federal investigation for using a private email server, Or do you pick someone who called Mexicans rapists, claimed the president was born in Kenya, proposed banning an entire religion from entering the U.S., mocked a disabled reporter, said John McCain wasn't a war hero because he was captured, attacked the parents of a fallen soldier, bragged about committing sexual assault, was accused of 12 women of committing sexual assault, said some of those women weren't attractive enough for him to sexually assault, said more countries should get nuked, said he would be forced the military to commit war crimes, said a judge was biased because his parents were Mexicans, said women should be punished for having abortions, incited violence at his rallies, called global warming a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese, called for his opponent to be jailed, declared bankruptcy 6 times, bragged about not paying income taxes, stiffed his contractors and employees, lost $1 billion in 1 year, scammed customers at his fake university, bought a 6-foot-tall painting of himself with money from his fake foundation, has a trial for fraud coming up in November, insulted an opponent's looks, insulted an opponent's wife's looks, and bragged about grabbing women by the... How do you choose? Because it's so even.
Even some Republicans are already supporting him, like 2012 presidential nominee Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush, Barbara Bush, while others like George H.W. Bush and his son George Bush have maintained deafening silence. Lastly, Barack Obama came down heavily against Trump's tirades against Obamacare using his own trademark wit.
Next year at this time, someone else will be standing here in this very spot, and it's anyone's guess who she will be. But you know, 8 years ago, I said it was time to change the tone of our politics. In hindsight, I clearly should have been more specific.
But the most scathing criticism of Trump came from the father of a Muslim soldier who gave his life for the US in Iraq.
Donald Trump, you're asking Americans to trust you with their future. Let me ask you, have you even read the United States Constitution? I will gladly lend you my copy.
From India's point of view, there is a general consensus that whoever wins the elections, they should work together to strengthen ties. India will be looking forward to continued US support in terms of defense, nuclear and solar energy. They should coordinate to combat terrorism and also China's influence in the region. Moreover, India will be closely monitoring the issues regarding immigration and H-1B1 visas, which could affect the profitability of Indian software companies.
And as far as the rest of the world is concerned, Mexico and Canada are hoping for a Clinton victory as it would ensure status quo over the free trade agreement, while other countries like Japan, South Korea, UK, Iran, Germany believe that Clinton's victory would help in carrying a stable relations with the US. China too detests Trump for obvious reasons. But countries like Russia, North Korea are hoping for a Trump victory as they believe that it would result in greater dialogue between the nations.
In what turns out to be a battle between two hugely unpopular candidates, opinion polls are divided between the two, seesawing between them time and again. There are doubts about a single person getting a majority if independent candidate Evan McMillan or libertarian Gary Johnson win at least one electoral vote. Moreover, Trump's insinuation about the election being rigged and not accepting the election results have revived the memories of the infamous 2000 presidential elections between Al Gore and George W. Bush, where the Supreme Court had to intervene to decide the outcome of the election. Come November 9, America will come to know about their future, which has far-reaching implications. It remains to be seen whether it rewrites history again like 2008 by choosing its first women president or succumbs to jingoism and xenophobia just like Brexit.
Whoever wins, may he or she unites the divided people of America.
It's the answer spoken by young and old, rich and poor, Democrat and Republican, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, gay, straight, disabled and not disabled, Americans who sent a message to the world that we have never been just a collection of individuals or a collection of red states and blue states. We are and always will be the United States of America.